Yes. Okay, we are ready. We should be live on Zoom, YT as well.
All right.
Hey guys, could you just confirm if we are live, if you guys can hear us? I believe we are live now. Can somebody quickly mention in the chat if we are live or not? Let's wait for some responses until we get a little bit sure.
Sure.
Yes. It will take, I think, 1 or 2 seconds more. Okay, cool. We are live. So, hi guys, welcome to C2C Mentors. Welcome to the session. Today we have with us students from SIDTM. We have with us Swaraj and Asbana, who will be discussing SNAP strategy, SNAP GEPI batch strategy to be particular. They will be discussing their experiences. They will be sharing how you should be go about it, preparing yourselves for the GEPI batch process. And why don't you start by introducing yourself, Asbana, and then maybe we can go on to Swaraj.
Okay, thank you so much, Pooja, for that, taking time out and doing this session with us today. My name is Asbana Velati. I am a first-year student at Symbiosis Institute of Digital and Telecom Management. I am from the Marketing and Finance specialization. My previous academic qualifications include a BBA in Media and Communication, post which I do have a few years of work experience, about a year and a half, and now I'm here pursuing my master's.
Yeah.
About you, Swaraj?
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. My name is Swaraj Samant. I am a final year student at SIDTM here from the system specialization. My educational background was Bachelor of Computer Applications, after which I joined SIDTM immediately.
Great to have you guys on board. A lot of diversity on board. Why don't we start by knowing a little about how the Symbiosis GWAT PI process goes on? What are the exercises? What are the rounds that are happening on campus during the interviews? So could you just help the students out with the entire process?
Sure.
Yeah, Asbana, go ahead.
So as the first batch to have done this entire process online, it is, so we have a group discussion that happens, followed by the personal interview, and then there is a written ability test. Last year, the date, so the order of the same is the G and PI happen on the same day. The written ability test may or may not happen on that day. It depends on the day that the aspirant chooses based on the reception of the letter. So when you do receive your letter, your call letter, there is a day that you're supposed to choose for all GEPI and the written ability test. So I remember my GEPI was on the 14th of February and my written ability test happened on the 16th of February. So like what they judge more or less. So the good thing about Symbiosis is that it's not just academic qualifications that they're looking for. They want to know what you are as a person, how you are, what is it that you can bring to the table, because at the end of the day, an MBA is about like learning from all the people that are around you. So your communication skills, how confident you are in your interactions with people, your leadership skills, how do you think? Basically, if they're asking you a question, it may sound very basic, but again, they're not looking for your answer. They're seeking to judge what they like how you think. So that is something that I feel are important when the faculty and the panelists judge when it comes to admissions at Symbiosis.
Great, thank you so much. Swaraj, could you share your experience as well?
So my GEPI experience was an offline one. At that time, we had almost the same processes. There was a VAT where we had given a topic, and after that, group discussion and a personal interview. Now, in the offline mode, what we had was in the group discussion, there were the people in the same room. In an online mode, you will be in a meet, right? So there was a bit of a difference during our time. Even in the offline mode, the topics that are given to you, knowing it's a college which is closely related to technology and the digital and telecom aspects of the business world, the topics that might be given to you may fall in this domain as well. Okay, so you don't need to have an in-depth knowledge about all these subjects. You just need to be aware about them. So things like electric cars or cryptocurrency or NFTs, these are the trends of today, right? I might not need to know how they work, but I have to know about them. Okay. So as long as you guys are aware about these things, you would be good to go.
Right, got it. And what about the group exercise part? Was that also done offline, online for both of you? How did it go about?
So for me, the group exercise was a group discussion, and this was done offline. My whole
Okay.
process was offline. But in Symbiosis colleges, your group exercise can be something more than a GD as well. Okay. They want to see how you act as a group. Even in the group discussion, they will not check how many points you make. They will see if you as a group come towards a conclusion. Even if that means you have added a point to someone, or you listen to some point and you added to it, that makes a huge difference as well, rather than speaking a lot or dominating the group discussion. Because if they want to check how well you speak and your knowledge, they will do that in the personal interview. The group discussion is just to check you perform in the team. So I think your aim in the group discussion should be to be an anchor of the group. Try to take forward the conversation rather than going in circles.
Got it, got it. And could you also share some topics or some instances, some varieties of group exercises that the students could prepare themselves for?
Sure. So, like last year, like just adding to what Swaraj said, when the group exercise happens, our first task as a group actually in the in the online mode of the process was that we were given two topics, and as a group, we had to decide what we wanted to discuss. So, if you do actually, if you can come to a consensus, and if you can rather than of course, it's always welcome that you put your points forward and you know what you're thinking, but it's not an argument. You're not against each other. So a lot of topics at the moment, or what I can think, my topic last year was will Quora become Wikipedia? A friend of mine had, will robots ever take over humanity? So again, while the institute is digital and telecom of the business side of the world, the topics can range from, I mean, we spoke about Quora and Wikipedia, and then there was robotics and stuff like that. So a few topics that I can think of right now would be there can be about the recent budget that has been passed, the 5G rollouts, India Gen, like the Gen Next India, which is like the government has a plan to digitalize India by 2025, especially rural India. So it can be that, it can be rural Indian consumers, it can be the vaccines also that are coming out. A lot of people like this anti-vax movement, which is predominantly a Western phenomenon, and now it's slowly catching up. Like there are certain people in India who within the subcontinent that are like following this, we don't need vaccines, it like natural cure, and how vaccines are important for children. Also about in the past, like the presidential elections of United States of America, the topics can be diverse. So it can also be about like TV shows and anything under the sun. So as long as you're aware about anything that's happening, so even if you're watching a movie, you never know how that's going to help you. So
right.
When a dialogue
Exactly.
from the Suits may come to use, or when what Dwight did in the office is going to help you, save your day, you never know. So just pay very conscious attention to your environment, and be aware, just be aware.
Great. And what about the personal interviews? Is it very grilling, or how is it more academic focused, work ex focused? How does it go about?
Since it was different for both of us,
Yes.
Swaraj, you can take this.
Yeah. So personal interview, in the name itself, is personal for everyone, because your interview experience will be completely unique to everyone else. Because the interviewer will go through your profile, okay, your resume, what you've written in your SOPs, and then he will ask you questions based on that. So whatever you're written in your resume or your bio profile, you have to be 100% sure about it. You cannot write you are a book reader, and then if the interviewer asks you something about a book, okay, maybe you mentioned a book and he happened to read that same book, and you can't answer about it, then that would be a very bad point to say. So try to be yourself in the personal interview. Okay, the interviewer doesn't want to check your knowledge. He knows that you don't know the domain about the college that you come to study. That is what you will be learning after the admission. They don't want to check if you already know that beforehand. They want to see if you have the learning acumen. Okay, if you have the ability to grasp these things beforehand, if you've been through certain experiences where you have evolved and learned from your surroundings, where you interacted with teammates, classmates, whether you pushed yourself, you've taken part in certain activities, whether you made an attempt to grow as an individual, these are the things that interviewer will definitely look for. So do not try to be someone that you're not. Don't try to oversell yourself. Don't try to even undersell yourself. Okay, just be very confident, be yourself. Okay, know your matter very well. You need to know your profile and what separates you from everyone else. That is something that I should prepare and come. Okay, I always believe that in an interview, whether it's for a college or it's for a company, the aim is not to be better than your competition. It has to be different than your competition. You need to figure out what's that one thing that would define you or separate you from the lot. Maybe the 1,000 people that are appearing for the interview or the 2,000 people that are waiting behind you. That should be your objective here. Asbana can tell you the online experience.
Sure, Asbana, we would love to hear from you as well.
So our after the GD got over, there was like we were taken to the breakout rooms and we were called one by one. And for some reason, I'm not a very anxious person in general, but for some reason, because this is somewhere that I really wanted to be and something that I really wanted to do, so that there was like these, I don't know whether they were butterflies or caterpillars, but there was something that was going on. And there was like a sense of nervousness, which when I did join the panel room, there were two of them. It did show on my face. So they were like, it's, you have to calm down and like you have to just gather composure, because I also realized that if I am in that anxious mode, my judgment and the things that I say will not come across the way I wanted them to. And they started off with asking me about me. Why did I choose? Why am I doing this MBA? Your generic questions, even when you go to a job. Why do you do this? Where do you see yourself? And all of that happened. And then they asked me what my hobbies are. And I began to discuss those. And I told them, so I really enjoy spending time in the kitchen, whether it is cooking or baking. And then they asked me, tell us a recipe that you really enjoy making. So I did narrate one to them. And there was a little bit of a banter saying, okay, I was like, please, don't disclose this. This is something I want to sell someday. And I don't know whether that was a good thing or not, because the minute I said this is something I would like to sell someday, the commercials of it came in. Okay, so now tell us, if you're going to make for like these many people, what are you going to do? How are you going, like, if this is your specialty and let's say there's someone else who's selling it, because I also mentioned I am from the marketing background and I want to pursue a career in the said field. Again, those things came up like, okay, there are 1,000 other people selling it. How are you going to differentiate yourself? So like I'm just going to reiterate what Swaraj said, because it makes that much sense. The personal interview is very personal, and the better you understand yourself, your goals, your ambitions, who you are as a person, and as long as you're being honest, with humility, because I'm sure there are a lot of people who must have superseded their peers, but you cannot come across as a narcissist in this case, because you are here at the end of the day. Again, the group exercise, like Swaraj mentioned, is about seeing how cohesive you are as a unit. So if you are going to seem like someone who cannot work in a team, then, or if you seem like someone who has a superiority complex for whatever that you may have achieved, that is a red flag in the process. So know yourself, but also know that when you're portraying it, come across, like, do it with humility and be humble about it. Not a holier than thou attitude, if I may put it that way.
Great, got it. Even we take care of these pointers at C2C. So when we train students, we help them make answers which are very personalized based on who they are, what their profile is, where they're coming from. Because as you said, personal interview is very personal. So they need to see who you as a person are. Moving ahead, the next question that students often face is why MBA? So could you give some tips as to how students can frame this answer of why MBA?
Okay.
I mean, there are a few obvious reasons why everybody goes for an MBA, but then any tips from your side?
Okay. So Raj, since you're at the fag end of yours, do you want to this one first?
Okay. So this question, right? You need to understand from where the interviewer is coming. Okay, why he's asking you this question. He wants to check whether you can justify your background and connect it to the MBA when you will be later appearing for placements. Okay. So what you need to do here is, in this answer, make sure that whatever you've done till that interview, it has to be a direct precursor to a reason why you're doing MBA. Try to connect your educational background to that reason. it has to be as simple as that. You cannot go ahead and say that, you want to learn so and so things, you want to become so and so things. It has to be a direct logical answer. Why MBA? Why MBA from so and so college? What would I gain here? How would that amplify the knowledge that I already have? Okay, how would I improve here? How would I grow here as a person? And then go ahead and make a change in my career. So it try to connect two dots here. Okay, this question is all about connecting dots. And if you have, if you want to succeed in this question at 100% rate, you need to prepare beforehand. So whatever, I guess, if you're an engineer and you worked on a project, or if you are someone who has a work ex, you need to find out what were the bottlenecks in that particular project and how an MBA can go ahead and solve those bottlenecks. Then you make a bridge and then you frame an answer around that and saying, this is what I want to do by after doing an MBA. I wasn't able to do so and so things. I want to be able to doing so and so things after doing an MBA. So that has to be an answer. You should show an acumen of growth, that I'm ready to do so and so things. I'm ready to become such a person. When you show such confidence and such resolve, that would be something that an interviewer remembers after it.
Great. Yeah. Your views on it, Asbana?
I think he's very holistically covered everything that you should ideally have in that answer. And a lot of times, a lot of freshers, when we spoken to aspirants, or I have friends who just recently gave their exams and they are like preparing for their interviews now. Some of them do not have work experience, and there is this innate fear that we will probably not be considered over people with work experience. And how do we approach this? Because if you are a professional and you worked, you are probably doing an MBA to progress further in your career, or you want to, some people just have this knack of wanting to educate themselves further, or for whatever the reason may be. For someone who's a fresher, it does teach you time management, because while you're doing your MBA, not just studying, any college that you go and be a part of is going to have internal committees and clubs that will work towards a certain goal. There will also be multiple assignments coming up at the same time, and you may or may not be granted extensions. Like there is this thing, everything while you're doing an MBA, every deadline is sacrosanct. So you're not going to be granted extensions. You will have your friends. Some days you want to chill, but you have work to do, and then you have a life outside of it also, which may or may not. Managing all of that is difficult. So it does teach a fresher about time management. And what an MBA does is it's beyond classroom learning. Of course, there are subjects that when your teacher conveys, and now that offline learning has started for us here at SIDTM at least, the whole experience is different. But what you learn in the classroom is also more or less, you will find that material somewhere. Your teachers will send you notes and stuff like that. What I learned from my roommate on a daily basis, or what I learned from my seniors on a daily basis, or my peers from different specializations, or just when we're conversing over lunch and talking about back in the day, I did this when I was faced with a certain challenge at my workplace. Somewhere or the other, human beings are a sum total of their experiences and the people around them. And an MBA is like the most appropriate opportunity to learn from people around you. So while you understand like how Swaraj mentioned, there should be a ladder of progression that is to show, also understand the auxiliary benefits of being here. And if you can amalgamate those two and express them in your own words, that is what they're looking for. They don't want to see your 5-year goal plan, because plans are, we don't know what we're going to do tomorrow. 5 years is it's a distant dream.
Lovely. Very well put, Asbana. Did you guys appear for some other institute interviews also from the Symbiosis, like SIIB or maybe SCIT or some other institute as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
So how was it different, or how was it similar to SIDTM?
Okay, so that's, first of all, if that's the best thing to do, if you're a fresher, try to fill up the slots for as many colleges as possible. Because even if you're only aiming for 2 and 3 colleges, giving 5 to 6 interviews before that is like practice. Okay, it's an experience that's very crucial for your favorite college. Whenever your crucial interview is there, it's good to have at least 3-4 interviews before that, so you know where you're going wrong in the personal interviews or group discussions. Now, the thing is, I can't name the colleges, but every college would be looking something specific out of you. Okay, because if I am a panelist, I know that I have to teach this curriculum to this student. How well would he fit in my culture? That is what every college would check. So whenever you're trying to appear for your college, different colleges, you have to frame your answers in such a way that they're suited for that domain. So when I'm giving a PI for SIDTM, my answer should be different than when I'm giving a PI for some other college, which may be into human resources, right? So I have to portray my skills in that particular way. I have to show that I'm good in those domains. If I'm maybe appearing for a college which is in operations, then you have to showcase your skills, even your personal experiences and even your background in such a way that you are made for operations. So have different answers ready and have different personas kept ready so that you can go and portray them. That
Right.
should be the plan of action, I think so. Asbana.
No, I think he said it. I don't think I have anything different to contribute. Like what he said, the process is because they're looking at you as a student within the space with other students. How well will you fit within their culture, and how much can you bring to the table? Because while you take from an MBA, you're also contributing in whether when you're a part of a committee or a club or even just your peer group. What is it that you will add differently to the group is what they're looking for. So again, there are a limited number of seats in every institute, and there are a lot of applicants. The questions for all of them will be more or less the same. It's how you portray yourself or how you talk about being the most suited candidate for that position, that seat in the institute is what will make the difference. So the questions again, like let's say if the three of us are sitting for an interview right now, there is permutation, combination, nightmare that was, but same lot of questions will be asked to us, and our selection to the institute will depend on how you and I spoke differently. So that is pretty much what there is in those interviews.
Yeah. Also, I would advise, like, since you guys would be getting calls from next week from different colleges, try to fill as many slots as possible. Many people don't, try to only go for the colleges which they're interested in, but you are bound to stumble in your first interview. It is always, it is always better to be prepared, even if you're 100% sure that, you've done your set, but the first interview after such a long gap might stumble you, dude. So it is always try to just fill up some colleges which you're not interested in. Just do it for the practice or for the experience. That would be the right plan to go.
Also, we have a lot of queries from students asking what could be the possible cutoff for SIDTM, or when can they expect the shortlist to be out, interview calls to be out. Do you have anything to advise or to suggest about the shortlist cutoff, anything like that?
So tentatively.
See, your cutoff, right? Your cutoff is a simple mathematical equation. Let's say if I have X number of seats in my college, depending on the number of people which have applied, okay, and those people, how they are performed in the exam, I will call those many people. Okay. So depending on that number, if there are like 1,000 people or there are 2,000 people, more the number of people, higher the cutoff. And the cutoff also depends on how these guys are performed in the exam. So it is extremely variable and dynamic on the aspirants itself. We don't get to sit and predetermine what the cutoff would be. So neither me or Asbana can tell you what the cutoff will be for SIDTM this year. It is completely dependent on the aspirants itself.
Very well put.
The tentative list, though, the calls should tentatively be out by the 7th of February. And like Swaraj said, we have no control over the cutoffs. It's in fact the aspirants and how well they perform that determines it. What we can tell you is that the SNAP is only 50% of the weightage that is given to your overall final acceptance offer at the institute. The remaining 50 is yet to come. So when you're preparing for this last leg of it, you might as well start now, because there is never enough time, and that is for life in general. There is just never enough time, and the sooner you start, the more edge you have over someone who's probably starting later, and you will just be better prepared. Because it may sound easy, okay, know yourself and you will crack the interview, and just be a team player and you will crack the GE. But knowing yourself and being a team player are not some things that it's not as easy as it sounds. So take that time out for yourself. Also practice writing for the written ability test. It is very important. And what I used to do was, I actually do enjoy writing, but when you're in this pressure situation, you always feel like, oh shit, I could have done this after the time is over, or oh shit, I could have done that. But take your time, start writing one essay from diverse topics. Like today, if you're writing about science, tomorrow write about politics, write about your hobby, write about arts, write about business. Read up on things and keep writing, because the more you write, the better you will be more proficient in it. Practice makes person perfect is not just an idiom.
Right, absolutely. Coming back to SIDTM, how is your life at SIDTM now? Asbana, you're in the first year. Swaraj is a second year student. How has it been? How is the SIP? How are the placements? What are the roles that students can expect on campus? So could you just give a brief about that?
Sure.
Okay, I'll start because I started my first year in online mode. And I think when we were in the mid of our third semester, that is when we came to the campus. Asbana, however, came in our first or second semester itself. And the batch which is joining may start from the first semester till the fourth semester. So your batch would be completely on campus, right? So you might differ, your experience might differ from my experience, because my half of it was in the online mode. But still, obviously, when we started MBA, there was a constant realization that despite learning all the facts, information, and all the things that we can learn virtually, one thing that SIDTM did is it did not let us miss out on the peer learning, or growing together, experiential learning as we call it here. That part was not left out for us. At SIDTM, we work closely with technology. Okay, but despite that, our teachers made an effort to take us through case studies, made us work through syndicates. Every single assignment, every single project was made in groups. There were student-run committees. I think a good thing about Symbiosis colleges is most of the campus is run by student bodies, right? The student bodies consists of committees and clubs. These committees and clubs often have works throughout the year, and they try to perform various functions which are sort of like simulations of business functions that you'll be doing later when you're placed. So I was part of, like, me and Asbana are part of the admissions committee, where the branding and admissions committee, right? So from the start, we sort of got an experience how it is actually to go ahead and pitch something, put forward the proposal, how to go ahead and talk to an aspirant, how to convince someone to something, how to make a pitch, how to make a presentation. And this was a direct a straight first-hand experience from the outside world, right? It is not a class presentation. You're actually going and talking to the real people outside the world, outside your campus. So the college will constantly try to test your abilities with, in a practical scenario, not in the college, but also outside the college itself. There are other clubs and committees. We also have, like, when we came on the campus, there are many offline events and offline activities that goes on, which includes your sports, cultural activities. I guess about that, Asbana can tell you more, because she's in her junior year and she's done these things in the offline mode. So Asbana, you go ahead.
So like he's very well articulated about just that. So our semester started online, and I was very bummed because ours was supposed to start in June, and like I was prepared. I was like, okay, like, a formal wear, because our we have this rule when you go to class, you're supposed to be dressed formally, and I was very excited because I really enjoy formal clothing. So I was super excited and pumped about like going to campus, and everything was ready. And then we're told, okay, COVID's back. It's stronger now, so please sit at home, open your laptops, and all of virtual learning. We did have a week full of our first week. I remember we have a committee at Symbiosis Institute of Digital and Telecom Management, where they take care of your extracurricular activities and stuff like that. So we had icebreaker sessions. Then one of the student committees, the admissions team, also organized an icebreaker for us, where we were put into groups and we were like given a task that we had to perform. And now that we're here on campus after a whole semester, we had Christmas that we celebrated here. We have a lovely like the campus here. We are in the Pune campus at Lavale, and it is a simulation of heaven, if heaven was there on earth. So it's like the whole vibe is different. Like, just sitting, going to the library to finish your assignments late night, going with your friends, working around projects, and you learn so much more, because offline classes, there is interaction. At home we had the bed to like lie down comfortably, or you could get up and stretch. But here you're focused. You're like, it is practically what you would do at work, because while work from home is becoming a thing, you still cannot be laid back about it. You have to have that concentration and that focus and the discipline to be able to do that. And I think here, after coming to campus, the fun it's become 10 times more, but so has the discipline and deadlines, because now there is no excuse. You can't say that, okay, I have this commitment or I have that commitment, because you are under scrutiny. In the sense, you're everyone knows what you're doing. Your assignments have to be submitted on time, which is otherwise also the case. But now it's just, again, that much more discipline. And I think it's extremely important that if you have to succeed in your professional space, while hard work is important and smart work is equally important, discipline does add that edge. So while you can ideate and you can talk about things, if you cannot put them to action, and if you cannot follow through with what you're saying, there is a gap. And being here on campus has bridged the gap for a lot of us in terms of how we get things done. So, and I'm looking forward to the new batch that comes in. We will have our juniors in front of us from the very beginning. So the interaction will be that much more deeper and that much more personal with them. And they will be...
Yeah, coming to placements. So I guess you guys must be waiting for the placement scenario, the placements, the curriculum, specialization of the college, right? So as job seekers, I strongly believe that there has to be a constant effort to complement the machines that are trying to replace us. Okay, that is what SIDTM strongly believes in. Obviously, companies right now have access to certain technologies that they can completely replace the things that we used to do a few years back. Many things have been automated, many things have been changed, right? So what we need to do is, of course, along with constantly upscaling ourselves, try to familiarize ourselves with these concepts and technologies so that we not only know how to use them, but also try to use these things to advance the business processes that we should do 5 years back. Even the simplest of things, like if case in point, let's take Starbucks, right? A beverage company makes coffee, but they heavily invest in data analytics to find out, what to name the next coffee, where to open a shop. So I guess us as a college tries to take that point and expand upon it. Even the 3 specializations that we also have marketing and finance, we have analytics and finance, and we have systems and finance. So even in marketing, the way marketing is taught to you is how can students of SIDTM use technology to find out how well I can reach my customers, how more knowledge can I get about who my consumers are, what I need to sell them, where I need to sell them, and when I need to sell them. All these things come through me to technology. So I say it's a marriage with technology. That is what SIDTM gives you. And the placements are a direct result of that. We have seen tremendous growth in our placement compared to last year. The placement reports, however, you will find all the figures on the website regarding placement. This year, we had 100% placement for all the eligible students. Also, we had new profiles coming to the campus. The likes of, we had there was what's it called, forensics, so data forensics, right? Is a completely, so in India itself, you have an audit processing, a new laws which makes the companies follow an audit process for the data and IT companies. So for that itself, you need people who are trained in IT functions, IT audit. So this was one of the new profiles that came to the campus. You have consulting in analytics, you have customer strategy managers, you have customer strategy consultants. So these are some of the new profiles that are coming to the campus, along with the old bunch of profiles which you'll find on the website itself. So I guess that would summarize the whole placement scenario, the curriculum scenario.
Thank you so much for that information. Lovely. It was great to hear your experiences on campus, off campus, online, offline. Thank you so much for sharing insights with all our viewers, all the students out there who are looking forward to appearing for interviews at Symbiosis, all the institutes, especially joining you, becoming your juniors. And guys, one of them will be also joining with us as a mentor at C2C. So stay tuned. And thank you so much for joining us this evening. Thank you, Swaraj. Thank you, Asbana. Means a lot taking out time for all our viewers, all the YT family, all the students out there. And that's all for today from our side, guys. If you have any questions, if you have anything you want us to help us, drop the question in the comment box below and we will surely help you out. Thank you. Take care till then. Bye.
Thank you so much, Pooja.